Hello, 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 and welcome to another One Line of Code. Whoa, my voice feels weird. What's up with you, Picture? What are you doing? Picture? Picture? What are you doing? Whatever, close enough, right? Good enough for... It's obviously not good enough for me. Did that do it? Okay. Anyway, hi. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another One Line of Code. I hope you beautiful and amazing people are having a great start to your week. Hello, Scott. What even is going on with my throat? Hello. Is that what I sound like? Oh my goodness. Anyway, I am One Lion, and this is a stream where we do .NET development. Lots and lots of fun .NET related stuff. We're working on a Blazor project called the Financial Management Tracking Application. You can check it out on GitHub if you so feel like. It is open source. You can do whatever you want with it. I decided to put this picture of a volcano that actually looks like a spaceship that's taking off. And because we didn't get a launch today, I guess. So here's your launch for today. For those of you that were missing it, I hope you are all well. I already said that. We're going to dive right in and finish up the last bits of the edit transaction functionality. Let me just make sure it's using the correct screen. It is. So where am I? Where am I? There I am. Hi. Why do I have two XSplit sources? What are you? That's me. Oh no. Remove. Okay, we should only have this source. Okay. 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 Good to go. So here we go. The last bit I think that we were working on was the edit and remove line items from a payment data entry. So we'll hop over to see what that looks like currently, fix it, push it, and be done. We'll be done. Okay, you need to come over here, please. You need to go there. Make screen small. Ooh, excuse me. So I'm going to say this a few times throughout the stream, but I mentioned a while ago that things are probably going to be changing around the stream, and they most likely will coming up in the next week or two, which I'm still trying to fully decide what I'm going to do, but I will definitely keep you in the know. One option that I'm kind of leaning towards is, and I know this is going to sound crazy, taking a break from streaming. And I have no idea how long that break is going to be. But we're going to try to see how things go without changing the stream schedule. And then if things get to be too much for me, then yeah. I've already cut the stream down to only 2 hours a day, and then 2 hours Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And it just seems like it might get even more hectic. Okay. One thing I just saw is that I need to update stream elements project wait, that was automated realms. Automated realms project, which we can do in here. School, local DB, not local DB, Angie, Angimus. Backslash Angie school, right? No, just I forget how to do this. Yeah, I think dot backslash Angie school. Yep, there it goes. Okay, so we actually got to them. And here is the bot. Here are the bot commands. And in the bang project command, I currently have that we're using .NET 6, but we are using .NET 7. This would be one reason that it'd be nice to do an update on the actual bot UI, so I could do this in the UI. Cool. Okay, so the next time that we type bang project, we need to first refresh our commands. And that I can do using the UI. Not very consistent, is he? Refresh the commands. Bang project says .NET 7, just like that. Like a magic. Okay, so we have the app running now. And we can see the functionality that I am talking about, where we have existing transactions, which here I'm talking about a financial transaction that you've entered into this manually tracked system. And so here's one instance that is a payment from my Cheddit charge to Dukabot. And it's a subtotal of 2234.15. And I can do things like add amounts, and that will update the total amount here, as well as keep track of it. But what I don't have is the ability to edit one of these line items and or delete one of those line items. But we can change which account we paid for, we paid from. We can change who we're paying to. We can add memos, change the transaction date, update the posted date, etc. So I don't know why I closed it, because we need to see it. So we're going to add the buttons here for edit and delete. And once we're done with this, our next step is to, first of all, review the functionality. But if all is good, then we'll move on to being able to add lookup items in the fields that can have lookup items changed, such as accounts, payees, line item types, and deposit reasons. I think those are the only ones. Payee, line item type, account, deposit reason, and that's it. Those are the ones. Cool. So let's get this thing going. So first thing is first. Let us make you smaller and whiter. Let us add those buttons. Then we'll add the functionality for those buttons. Do we have any pending changes that need to be committed? We do. What are these changes? Why are there additions? We added new components. We started this work already, I remember. And part of the work was to split out the transaction payment details, the line items here, into their own components. So we have one component that is the entire line item grid, and that is called payment details table. And so this is the whole table. Then each row inside of that is a payment detail row. That way we can make it easier to do all of our payment detail row editing instead of having a ton of repeated code in here. So like I said, we will add one column, which is going to be line item controls. Whoa, you are completely okay. You're allowed to do any questions that you feel like it. But Latrine Annihilator, thank you for hopping in and for asking your question. The question is, the whole statement plus question is, sorry to interrupt your train of thought, but I don't think I'll find a better time to ask. You're always welcome to ask. I would like to learn C# and .NET to be able to work professionally. I have experience with C and C++, great, junior to mid-level. So that's a fantastic place to start from, because that means that you have a lot of introduction to the core concepts of object-oriented programming. There's a lot less manual maintenance that you'll have to do with C#, so I think you'll find that pleasing. You'll be happy with that. And the content in this stream is still beyond me, and I find MSDN and most other tutorials lacking in terms of broad general understanding. Would you be able to recommend a textbook? You like using textbooks to learn C# and .NET, preferably the latest feature levels. I'm not good at recommending books because I don't learn well from books. I usually learn best from doing examples and understanding the concepts kinesthetically. So hands-on, kind of try the example by following a tutorial. Scott says learn from chat to OpenAI. I still can't fully recommend that. I mean, it's good at giving you information. It's not always correct information. So I would hazard against that for learning the language brand new. I use it more as a tool for give me some sense of direction for this thing that I'm trying to do that I'm really not 100% sure which direction I should be going. And then once it gives me an answer, then I can look at it and be like, I see the direction that you're talking about. That's not a real method. That's not a real way to go, but I see what you're trying to tell me, and I'm going to try that the right way. Anyway, so yeah, doing tutorials for me works as far as here is a specific thing that is kind of related to the thing that I want to do. So for example, if I was going to create this financial management application, maybe I would want to follow a tutorial for a any kind of CRUD application. So anything where you can enter data that goes to a database, retrieve data from that database, update the data in that database, and delete data. I would do it by following the tutorials directly, no changes. I would try it without following the tutorial, the exact same steps. I would refer back to the tutorial for any time that I get stuck to remind myself, and I would keep repeating that process until I'm able to remake the app from the tutorial without looking back at the tutorial. Then I would try to incorporate changes to make it do other things. And then finally, I would try to make my app using the concepts that I learned from that. So book-wise, there are definitely people in our Discord that will recommend books for you. So if you feel like it, no pressure at all, feel free to hop into our Discord and ask the question there. Just say, I'm looking for a book that I can learn C#. Otherwise, one of the best videos that I have found for learning C# in general, starting from basics, is the Introduction to C# video. Not this one. This one. C# Fundamentals is what I said. And while this video is a year old, it's still pretty it covers a lot. I mean, I guess it's over 3 years old now. It still has a lot of really, really good foundation type of information. Um, so you would be able to look at this and see here's what classes, methods, namespaces, variables look like in C sharp and draw from your existing knowledge of C and C++ to be like, okay, so if I wanted to write a function, then this is what it would look like. The thing that you are going to see is the minimal API when you create a brand new console application, when you're following his information. Just know that the minimal API part of it takes out the namespace, class program, static void main, and the only thing that you are writing inside of that file that it gives you, the program.cs file, is all of the stuff in the body of this main method. You still have access to args. Mojo Jojo. Is Mojo here? Mojo's here. Mojo's here. Thanks. I did try a bunch of tutorials, but I found myself writing C code in C sharp when programming my own stuff, so I thought I could use an academic approach of a textbook. Another place that you might try for free courses on this are Coursera.org as one resource. And these are more formal guided lessons where you might even be able to catch a class that has an instructor. So it'll be instructor led. And Mojo's asking, do you want to have a learning partner? Because Mojo will learn with you. Work together. Yeah, and the thing that I would look for are things that are more oriented towards the concepts, because it sounds like you want to get to know the concepts of C sharp, not necessarily let's create an app, because there are way too many let's create videos that don't fully explore the concepts to the degree that it sounds like you're looking for. Because they're very specific. They are specific to the goal that they are trying to achieve, with the thought that they can expose you to those concepts. But yeah, the way that, like, it's really difficult for me to recommend books and academic material, because the way that I learn is by consuming everything about it. So, like, if I was going to learn C sharp from scratch, I would be doing searches on YouTube for videos about C sharp, trying everything in those videos. Then I would Google, more stuff about C sharp. How do I make a web application in C sharp if I'm trying to make a web app? How do I make a desktop app using the latest C sharp? Follow tutorials, do them in the same way that I said I would do them. And so yeah, AZL0257, because I don't know how to pronounce your name. I'm sorry. Azure Lane. That's what I'll call you. ACL is saying Pluralsight has some decent courses. So I try to give free resource recommendations. But Pluralsight, the one course that if you're trying to learn Blazor specifically, the one course that I can highly recommend that's on Pluralsight is Patrick God's e-commerce one. Is he on Pluralsight or is he on the other one? He might be on the other one. What's the other one? I heard live coding gives lessons, but he never streams. Oh man. Just catch our Friday streams. Udemy, thank you. Yeah, this one. Good grief. This is the thing that I'm talking about, though. I mean, I would love to support them that way, but there are so many resources on the interwebs that you don't necessarily have to pay for courses unless that's how you learn. Which is not to say don't buy a course, because these guys that took the time to put the courses together definitely deserve it. Awesome. Thank you for the lurk then. Earlier, Mojo was asking, what is it that you see is that is beyond you? I don't know how much time I will be able to devote to this after my main job. This is something I'll be working on in my spare time. Yeah. Oh man, I am doing that with Unity right now. So I am a .NET developer, as you know, and I am doing desktop development using Blazor. And I want to get into AR and VR and all of those virtual technologies. And one of the tools that you can use to do that, nice mojo. One of the tools that you can use to do that is Unity. Other tools are stuff like NVIDIA's Omniverse platform. You could use Unreal. You could use, I don't know what else. Those are the main ones that I can think of off the top of my head, but I'm sure that there are more. And so I don't necessarily have the bandwidth, is what I'm going to call it, to be able to learn that while keeping up with my current day job, while having this new thing that's going on. If you are successfully learning the topic, then you are 100% successful, Mortizer. Let's see. Let me catch up on the rest of chat. Mojo said, fair enough to that comment. I got a job and they're letting me learn and transition into .NET. That's so nice. That's so cool. And then Latrine said, thanks. I appreciate your time and suggestions. Gonna lurk and look at everything you have suggested, but also go and find myself a textbook. Yeah, I'm telling you, there are people in our Discord that are all about books, that learn from books, and it works really well for them. So definitely ask in our Discord if you have the time, if you have the ability to. Just ask in there, and I'm sure people will give you book recommendations. And then AZ said, I wouldn't personally recommend Udemy considering the other resources available. I agree. And then, of course, a few YouTube videos and a lot of 80% complete projects. That's my learning style. Yeah. I mean, like, I still do projects fully because it hurts to leave things half done. But yeah. Scriptable objects in Unity never came up until really late in my Unity journey, but they're really useful. Yeah, I've heard a lot about using things like that. Like my main thing that I keep getting hung up on with Unity projects are, where do I put all of these logics? Where does my library code go? Like the thing that I use for connecting to an API. Where does the logic, like a class library is what I want to make. Here's a class library. I want to compile it and use the methods from that library in my Unity scripts. And it's almost like you need one script that is one scriptable object that is your API, like you said, manager. Yeah. So, for example, I was trying to see what it would take to get my bot into Unity so that I could do some interesting things with it. And not so easy. One of the things that I was trying to do to accomplish that goal is to use it's called AutoGPT, just to see if it would do it for me. And I'm like, here is my bot. Turn this into a Unity bot. That's your goal. With a little bit more detail on what I wanted it to do, but it's not there yet. My personal recommendation is to start with videos and tutorials. After you are through with those, only then would I really jump into books. Yeah, but Latrine is saying that they are struggling because they keep falling into their C++ patterns when following tutorials and videos. They want a book that's just going to be start here, here's this concept, let's fully learn it, let's go over it, rehearse it, and then try it in a practical exercise. At least that's what I'm understanding. But yeah, definitely, if you have more questions while we're streaming, feel free to ask if you have the bandwidth to do so. If you just want to hang out, then just hang out. There is absolutely no requirement for you to have to say anything while you are just vibing and chilling out with us. Some .NET ways of thinking aren't the right way to do it in Unity. Yep. Yeah. So, like, probably the same scenario that's going on with Latrine is what's going on with me. So, Latrine is like, I know these C things that I'm doing and I'm practicing on a daily basis essentially. And then I'm switching to a language that kind of looks like C and C. And it's just like, ah. So, for me, it's like I've been using C# for a really long time. And then I'm trying to do a Unity project app that kind of looks like the same C# that I'm used to using, the same .NET that I'm used to using, but is still quite a bit different. Like scriptable, not scriptable, serializable fields as your properties, and your properties being public fields instead of properties, and oh, just so much. But yeah, Latrina is saying, I learned C and C++ from textbooks working in my previous job, so I know I am capable of learning this way. That's why I thought to ask for textbook recommendations. Cool. Yeah, so you know your learning style. Mortizer is like, yep, some of it just feels so dirty. Oh my goodness, yes. I wonder if I can actually bring that up. Hey, computer, are you capable of running my latest while we're streaming? We'll see if it comes up. I'll let it load. No, because it doesn't exist anymore. It doesn't? Nani? I'm not exactly sure what happened there. It's okay. It's okay though. Yeah. So definitely, if I were to recommend videos and people, the ones that Scott named are definitely on the tops of my list of people that I would recommend. Good Venkat, I am Tim Corey, maybe Free Code Camp. They're hit and miss because they're kind of just like a large learning hub for all types of things versus the more specific ones to C#. And then more advanced people, Code Wrinkles, Nick Chapsis, Milan Jovanovic. Jovanovic. Anyway, I don't know them, but yeah, a lot more. Les, Les. I can't think of his name. That guy. All of the .NET workshop videos. So if you go over to the .NET channel, who else am I following? Les Jackson. Irish John Games. Gavil. Or Gavalanche. He does a lot of Blazor stuff. And thank you so much for the follow, Mortizer. Really appreciate that. As you know, there is no pressure, no obligation that comes with following or anything. So glad to have you here. Nice to have you around and saying hello and stuff. Who else can I recommend? Socratica is supposed to be good for learning. I didn't really watch them all that much, but they were recommended by my uncle. Tenet Foundation, HoloLens, Method, man, they were fun. Them and Fun Function. I love them. I haven't seen any new videos from them lately. Coding Train. He's really cool because he does a lot of JavaScript stuff that you can still learn from and apply to just ways of thinking about your .NET code, even though it's all JavaScript that he does, or that I've seen him do. Anyway, there are more. There are more. But yeah, on the .NET channel, they do have some playlist specific to topics in C Sharp, so I would use these playlists. And then Scott says, I know of C Sharp Fritz, not a big fan of him, but he's a known C Sharp guy for sure. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know C Sharp books either. Maybe check some of the speakers at NDC. Oh, that's a great recommendation. So speakers at NDC tend to be authors too, and they publish helpful books. Like some of the NDC conference, is that redundant? Some of the NDC videos that I liked to see are specifically surrounding async and all of this stuff, as well as code structure. I don't know what else to call it. It's called architecture. And patterns and stuff. Yeah. This one's a great one from Ben and Minnick, talking about async await mistakes that are it's still valid today. Ooh, yeah. So as always, yep, feel free to continue asking questions. I'll stop joking on air. In my university, we get free books, PDF files, and paid courses to learn that kind of stuff. Oh, that's so cool, Scott. I had to buy everything, but I went to university back in 2000. And the only thing I really learned from university was perseverance and endurance and an attitude of not giving up and getting stuff done. I can't say that's the only thing I learned, but that really was what it felt like I needed to go to university for. So it's not for everyone. Some people can learn that way. I didn't learn very much at university regarding how to write software. That was all done through, again, tutorials and other resources that were non academic like that. But I did learn how to stick it out, how to just put my best into everything that I do. Yeah, that's it. I learned what types, that's bad. I learned what types of alcohol I liked. I learned that I didn't really want to smoke pot. Tried it for a year and then I was like, I don't like this. I don't like this at all. Um, I learned how to barely maintain a bank account, how to overdraw my bank account and use student loans for that. Oh, it was so bad. It was so bad until the last 3 years at university. Then the last 3 years, I really kicked into gear and I was like, I'm going to graduate, dang it. And then I did. It was such a bad time. Bad times. Moving on to the good times, which are right now, which are today. So Latrine wants to know if the books are available for everyone or is it just students and alumni from SCOD? And my guess is it would just be students and alums. Students and alums, because I said it the cool way. TV. And then we can have a label class. What is this called? Screen reader only. I think I made this class. And the reason that I'm using this is so that people will know what this column is about when they're using a screen reader. Because if you are able to see fine, then you will know that there are icons in this column that look like an edit button and a delete button. But if you're using a screen reader and it's reading out the header row, then it doesn't know that. It's like, I don't know. Which I guess now that I am putting content in there that's more than just blank space, non-breaking space, then I can go ahead and make it a header. And the content that we're going to put in here is from our, which I wasn't using for these, from our localized content, which is called what? It's been too long since we've done any of this. Wow. What's going on with this? Why do I have so many strings that are not localized? I didn't realize that I was doing that. This is the app where we've been using localized content, right? Shared localizer service. Yeah, it is. Okay, let's go populate these real quick. We got amount column header, which is fine. We got line item type. Line item type. Okay, ciao. Ciao, 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 ciao. Ciao, ciao, ciao. And ciao. And thanks for hanging out, Mojo. Ciao for now. Latrine says I'm not a native speaker, so I still need to learn to speak cool. You don't need that. Speak the way that you speak. Pretty please. I want you to be you. Scott said, applying UML and patterns from Larman is one of the books I remember. Not much coding, more like structures and modeling before coding, which is good. Absolutely is. The online courses or from LinkedIn Learn. Huh. Probably the only platform I don't recommend. Okay, detail and amount. I think we had amount at least. And it's called amount column header. And we need one for controls. We'll call it line item controls header, column header. Because I really, really only want this to be a column header for the line item controls column in this table. Oops. Do you like portal stream elements? Okay, so we should be good to go. This should now have a value to look up. I don't know why you aren't resolving payment detail row. Did I break something in payment detail row? Is that what's going on here? Okay, so here is our TD for our controls, and we're just going to steal the same controls that we have in our transaction history grid row, which is next to this somewhere, which is render row, and it's this stuff here. And then instead of having a modal for these, we're going to do just inline edits because there isn't much to edit for them, you know. Okay. And so you are going to need a code behind which you has for these two methods. We're going to do, not override, we're going to do a task for now. For you and you. For you and you and you. This butt's for you. Beer. No offense to those of you that like beer. Blech. And then we'll just have it both return task dot completed task for now until we implement them. What do you have? Status changed on initialize async because we're doing an asynchronous thing and then populating the values for the thing. So this thing would allow the component to load completed. This would allow the entire component to load before we populate this variable. And once we populate this variable after the component has already loaded, we need to tell it, hey, we now have updated a field, because most likely, not even most likely, it shouldn't try to re-render within this entire process here. I don't think. I don't think so. It's because this is saying await, which means that it's going to leave the oninitialized well, it's going to go into this method and process it in the background while holding, having a placeholder here, but it's going to do the rest of the loading life cycle for the rest of the component. So it'll do the parameter on after render for the first load. And so that means that most likely by the time it gets to this point, the component is stable. And there will be no needs rendering by the time it gets to here and finishes this step.